So in my mind, the criminal justice system, particularly the prison system and our nation's commitment to mass incarceration, it's really one of the greatest social injustices of our time. As other people have said, I really agree with this, that it's like the slavery of our time that really obliterates hope for a lot of people and creates not only recidivism, but intergenerational cycles of recidivism, and contributes to gang violence and doesn't necessarily make society safer. And the reason for that is because prisons are designed to just really obliterate or extinguish hope. And when we take hope away from a human being, we kind of force him to live in this really wretched subculture that is the antithesis or the opposite of what it means to be an American citizen, or what we would like to think about the best of being an American citizen. Because we're taking away this belief that somehow we can become better than our past decisions or our past circumstances. And I have written extensively about the need to reform these laws and reform this system so that more people who go into the prison system can use that time to recalibrate and to get their life back on track. And if we were to create incentives that encouraged people that if you do this, you are going to get this kind of reward, very similar to the way that we find success in society. If you're successful at a certain venture, the market is going to reward you with either profits or market share or something that you're going to advance your life. In prison, the great flaw is that we measure justice only through the turning of calendar pages. It doesn't matter if somebody is working towards something productive, like advancing skills or education levels that make them more employable, or there's somebody spending all their time keeping up with the Kardashians. The outcome's the same. It makes no difference. And that's a flawed system. So it's the reason that very few people in prison really devote themselves to developing a skill set that will help them emerge successfully. And I believe that's one of the reasons that prisons really become revolving doors. So earning freedom is about changing that mindset and helping people realize that any of us at any time can work toward becoming something better.
He picked up a philosophy book and learned about Socrates.
He reached out to leading scholars of criminal justice at places like Stanford and Princeton, some of whom were impressed enough to become mentors. Over the years, Santos earned undergraduate and master's degrees and wrote 7 books about the criminal justice system, all from inside prison walls.
Either under my name or more frequently under their name, so it looked like they wrote the books. But that was a way that I built my career while I was in prison.
All right, and talk about too, when I first met you, about the prison pen pal website.
Oh yeah. So I started a business I started a lot of businesses in prison. That one was called, was it Prison Talk Online or something?
Oh, prisonerlife.com.
Prisonerlife.com, that's right. So I started prisonerlife.com in probably 1998, 1999, something like that. Just when the internet started. And I just had this vision of creating a platform for people in prison to be able to communicate and express their thoughts and write publishing, because really that's the real struggle of prison, I think, for motivated, ambitious people, is how do you reach out? How do you penetrate these walls and connect with society? And I started this website. I co-opted this. I financed it with money that I'd earned from the stock market and hired a web developer, designer, and wrote all the content, and then created opportunities for other people to publish themselves. It didn't turn out to be financially successful, but it was successful in the sense that I gave people opportunities to expand their voice and connect with the world outside of prison fences. I completely forgot about that venture. You just got to walk out, and they'll give you everything that you need to live the rest of your life in peace. And Socrates says, no, I'm not going to go. And Socrates says, what do you mean you're not going to go? If you stay, you're going to die. And Socrates' response was, yes, I'm going to die. And he said, but why would you do that when so many of your friends and I have gone to so much trouble to get you out of this? And Socrates' statement really changed the way that I think. And it helped me realize that I'd been living by bad philosophy. And I didn't want to live by that bad philosophy anymore. What Socrates said was that I live in a democracy. And in a democracy, I've got the right to change things that I don't agree with, but I can't really break laws just because I don't agree with them. I can try to change the law, but I can't break the law. And I got to take the good with the bad, and this is a really bad law, and it's a bad sentence, but I knew what I was doing, and I'd rather die with my dignity intact than run away like a coward after a problem that I created.
Kind of describe what prison life was like for you, like, when you first got in and you were adapting, and then, over the years, how you just formed your routine, and thrived even though you were in prison.
So I started in prison I got to the United States Penitentiary in Atlanta in 1988. At the time, it was it was a high security penitentiary. There was a lot of violence there. I was new in the system, but I had a plan. And that plan was, I couldn't comprehend what a 45-year sentence meant, but I learned once I got into the system that I could finish 45 years in 26 years as long as I didn't get into trouble. So they call that good time, but it's really not good time. You don't have to do anything good to get it. You just have to not do something bad and lose the good time. So I knew that if I didn't get in trouble, I could finish my sentence in 26 years. But I was only 23 when I started. So I didn't really have a framework to understand, well, what does it mean to serve 26 years in prison? Right? Like, to put that in perspective right now, as we film this in 2019, 26 years from now would be 2045. So you're going in, you got to be strong for until 2045, and it's hard to put that into perspective at that age. So I thought, instead of 26 years, I just thought of 10 years. What am I going to do in the first 10 years? And remember, I'd said that I wanted to focus on education, wanted to focus on contributing to society, and I wanted to focus on building a support network. So that meant, okay, how am I going to define that? How am I going to show that I'm not just somebody who's filled with happy talk about what it means, but I'm actually going to do it? And that meant, for me, I don't have to think about what's important to me. I've got to think about the people that I want to impress, the people I want to open opportunities for me, employers, business people, just citizens. And what would they want? So that's the way I started to answer my questions, is by asking questions about the people that I wanted to connect with in the future. And for me, those people, I believe, would answer, the only way anyone would say I was really committed to education would be as if I had a university degree. That was the mindset back in the mid-1980s, is that that's what it takes to become an educated person, is to have a university degree. Not necessarily what I agree with. I think you can become educated just by reading books, but it wasn't so important what I thought. I was thinking about the people I was going to meet, and they would want me to have a university degree. Contributing to society. What were some positive ways that I could contribute to society, even though I was in prison? Well, for me, I thought about, again, what could I do that would have meaning and somebody would know? And I came up with this idea of publishing. If I could become a published author while I'm in prison, it would be self-evident that I'm contributing, because people are getting my literature and paying for it. And that generates revenues and taxes, and so I'm contributing to society. And the third was, I wanted to build a strong support network. So I just did the same thing. I put a parameter on that and said, okay, in 10 years I want to know 10 people that I don't know and that don't know me, but I want them to be part of my network. That was the mindset that I started going through prison. And I just continued that plan of executing that plan as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into years. And because I had that plan, I could start writing letters to universities. Hey, my name is Michael Santos. I don't have any money. I was a terrible student when I was in high school, but I'm in prison now and I want to do something better, and I'd really like to go to the school. And you send enough of those letters out, you get a response. And that's how I got into school. And a few years after I was into my sentence, I earned a college degree. And then I continued that model. So I wanted to get a graduate degree or something more, because I was still very early. I think I got my college degree I got my first college degree in 1992. So about 4 years after I got to the penitentiary. And after I got the undergraduate degree, I wanted to go to grad school, first law school, then morphed into grad school. And I started writing, and I got into Hofstra University in New York, and I got a master's from Hofstra in 1995. So I was in about 8 years when I went through that goal of what I would describe, or what people I thought would describe as making, of identifying me as an educated person, that's having 2 university degrees. I began publishing and building a strong support network that way, and just looking for ways to get through this journey, what I described as being successful.